Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your extended look at the ITFC fixtures that have been released this morning. Has it settled in yet? Has it sunk in yet? Man City, Liverpool, obviously Liverpool, then Man City. First two games up. We want to know what you're thinking and feeling this evening. Get your live comments into our live chat. There's a link I've just dropped into the chat, but if you can't see it, just ask for the word link, and another one will appear, and you can come on and have your say on all things ITFC. From transfer speculation to, of course, what we are here to talk about, the fixtures. Don't forget, we are partnered with Match Bingo. Play Match Bingo, win cash prizes. How you play is on your screen right now. And every time you play, you are helping to support or contribute towards the crucial work of the East Anglian Air Ambulance. Every game helps to save lives and provide vital medical care to those in need. Register online, download the app. They've got European Championship galore bingo cards on there right now. £2 a game. I have been playing, and it's a great fun. Sean, obviously, as you know, through the year has won a pretty penny. Let's be honest, he has won a fair amount of money. In fact, so much money, I think he's probably somewhere around the cost of ourselves. No, I don't, not quite that much, but he has won some money. Match Bingo, £2 bingo card, over 18s only. Be gamble aware. Lynn says, hi, Gov, sounding good on Sky. Thanks so much, Lynn. Appreciate that. I think you can listen back any point you should say want to. It's obviously the Sky Sports Football Twitter space that I was involved with at lunchtime. Darren says reality has hit home now, guys. Come on, you Blues. Love that. Gary says, easy start. How are you feeling about it? Let us know. Joining me this evening is somebody who's not been on the platform before. Well, he's been on that one before, not been in a long time. That's how long it's been. I completely forgot it even existed. It is, of course, Mr. George Nunn. George, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, well, full of cold, but how are you?
It's been that long. I was like, oh my God. No, he has appeared. It's good to see you. Last time I saw you, we were a championship side, and now we're a Premier League team, and the fixtures are out, man.
Crazy, right?
Mental.
Exciting
Mental
times.
Tuesday.
Exciting times.
I know it is exciting times, but it is a case of blink and you miss it. So in the last, sort of month, we've had McKenna speculation. Then we've had a Greek international link, then taken away from us at the last minute by, I think it's Bologna. I think I saw this afternoon.
Yeah,
we've had promotion. It's just a blink and you miss it sort of situation at the club nowadays, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I daren't come back in case I was the reason that my absence was the reason that we were winning. So yeah, no, what a fantastic season! What a great first season for my son to have a season ticket. He's a lucky little sod. So yeah, it's been some ride.
It has been some ride, and yeah, great time to be a syndicate holder, as you said, particularly for the young fans. And you mentioned you don't want to come back in case you jinx it. Well, we are probably relegation favourites for many. So if you do come back and we get relegated,
yeah, it's fine now. I don't mind.
Can't be blamed.
You can blame me if you like. That's fine.
That's fine. We will certainly do so. Now, obviously, Rich, who's joining me in just a second as well, he was with me on the reaction show this morning, and he's had all day to think about it. You've had all day yourself to think about it. But what was your reaction when you saw those fixtures announced? Liverpool first at home, 12:30 TNT kickoff, then Man City. What are your thoughts on that?
I called Liverpool at home first a couple of weeks ago, actually, with some friends of mine on the way to the baseball. I think, yeah, it was always going to be someone big first game. I think that's felt inevitable. Being at home is great, obviously. I think that's awesome. Man City away, second up. Do you know what? I think probably the best time for us to play both of those teams is first up. We're a relatively unknown quantity. They'll have players away still, or having a bit of a break still from summer activity. And yeah, I think that it's as good a time as any to play them. But you could say that about the rest of the league, I guess.
Well, you could. As Richard this morning, there's no Forest Greens on the fixture list this year, and I agree with you. I think it is probably a good time to play them. But back to back, does that concern you at all heading into a new season? Back to back, it's not even like a Liverpool, Brighton, Man City. It's a Liverpool, Man City, back to back.
No, we've got to play them at some time, and I think there's other back-to-back games midway through the season. I think we've got Arsenal, Chelsea back-to-back, and then Chelsea, Arsenal, right? Like later on, like it's just how the Premier League works. That's how we've got to get used to playing 2 tough games back to back like that. They don't come much tougher, to be fair. But no, I'm not any more concerned about it than if it was any other time this season.
Fair point. Adi says, good evening, everyone. I really feel we are on the top table. Chris McTaggart, good evening from a morning rather from Queenstown, New Zealand. Great to see you who and where we play. Living in New Zealand, it's like every game is an away game. Portman Road is very important. Adi says, great to see George on Talking Town again. And it is. And don't forget, everything you see on the screen is the handiwork of Mr. George Nunn. Everything, every little design at Talking Town you see is down to this man here, the absolute legend. The power behind the Talking Town. It just makes us all look good, really. You know, I just sit here and click a few buttons and we go from one great background to another great background, or from one great overload. So, George, again, thank you ever so much for the work you put in for us. Paul Smith says, good evening, all Town fans. Why are we worried? We have Stuart and McKenna, and Suffolk Punch is coming for them. Russ says, evening, Gov, Rich and George. Russ in Great Yarmouth, welcome. How was Great Yarmouth today? I'm sure it was absolutely beautiful. Looking forward to the opening game in Newcastle at us in December. Will be a great one. Sir Bobby would have loved it, saying 12th to 17th finish. Thank you, Russ. Right, completing the trio is Mr. Richard Moss. Baptism of fire. You're set in for you now. So
who's
what
this
are
bloke
your
up
thoughts?
Who's this bloke up the top? You said it's his first appearance. I'm sure George has been here before. I'm sure he's been
here lots of
Look
times.
at the great
honest.
artwork. Look at the great artwork. Hats off to you, George. Brilliant.
I'll be fair to me. I've had a hard day of it. I was with you this morning at 10 to 9. 10 to 9.
He was shitting himself when he was on the Sky Sports Spaces. Is it working? Is it working? Has it kicked you? It did kick me out to start with. Look, it was a bit like, is your they went to someone, didn't they? Is your microphone working? And then there'd be a little pause. And then you'd appear. Gov is very well spoken when he's on these other platforms.
Isn't he?
Very well spoken. It's like, I don't know who this man is. Who is this guy?
Just an articulate fella, Rich.
I loved it.
With you, you get dragged down to your level. That's really what it is.
That's it then. No, you were brilliant, actually. Well done.
Thank you. So I was worried because I did start it, then it stopped, and then it started again. And I was thinking, am I behind? Like, is it a replay? Am I going to be waiting for you for 5 minutes until I've caught up? I don't know. I was booking it. But Rich, talk to George there. I talked to you this morning about it. Liverpool, Man City, back to back to block. How are you feeling about it now? Sort of, well, not far from 12 hours on.
Yeah, look, it's sinking in that we are in the Premier League. And you look at these fixtures. I've literally wrote them all down here. I'm trying to work out what months we're going to get some points, George. What games we should target. What games we're probably not going to get anything out of. I think a lot of people can probably sort of guess what them fixtures are. So, yeah, let's embrace it.
Absolutely,
we can do,
embrace it.
Yeah,
it's bloody tough, doesn't it? But we've just got to enjoy ourselves. Let's enjoy the ride.
Isn't this what we've all come for? Isn't this what the ride was about? Isn't this what the Northampton 3-0 defeats will be made almost a little bit better by?
No, that would never be made better, will it, Nunny? And Wimbledon and Rochdale and all these, yeah, back in the dark days of Ipswich Town.
Very dark. Days.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. Yeah, it's mad to think that it was only a couple of years ago, isn't it? And no one's going to argue that we're not slightly ahead of schedule that any of our new overlords may have had in the backs of their minds. I think they're probably still pinching themselves as well.
That's a great point, because I was thinking that this afternoon, actually, just after this on the Twitter space, like the investors that invested at the back end of last season. Not many investments you see probably climb as quickly as the one you just made there, because you made an investment in a football club, and overnight it's gone. Well, what are we worth now? I mean, that's a hell of an investment, George, and a great time to sort of piggyback into that success.
Yeah, I mean, I think I saw a thing that Kieran Maguire did near the time where he kind of said, that I think it was on his Price of Football podcast, that it felt like, well, on the face of it, it looked like it might be slightly overinflated because it valued us at something like £250 million, given that we were bought for 40 million or whatever it was the year before, and we were still not guaranteed Premier League football. But that's how football's changing, isn't it? People, particularly the Americans, are looking for good value clubs. And to be honest, I was thinking about it the other day. I think it's probably a good thing for the lower echelons of football, because there are lots of people in the market, it feels like, for a bargain in inverted commas, of a football club, and yes, they'll be looking at Wrexham and they'll be looking at us and thinking that it's all sunshine and rainbows, and it's obviously not. But there will be a lot of potential out there for picking up clubs, and it may not happen as quickly for a lot of those clubs, but it will at least mean stability and a future being secured and things. So I think it's only a good thing. It's obviously been an amazing thing for us, but yeah, I think again, Mark Ashton said when it happened, like it had been, the negotiations have been happening for quite a long time, and fair play to them for not getting closer to us getting to the Premier League and going, actually, do you know what, we're probably worth a little bit more than we've said, so you're not going to get as much, or it's going to cost you twice as much to buy the same stake. So yeah, it just all feels very, very positive to me.
Absolutely. And we should say, obviously, you won't tell because George's lighting is fantastic and he looks amazing. But he is suffering from cold. So he is here through the cold. So we've got our first 2024-25 late fitness test that was passed by a Talking Town contributor. And Rich, you got the investment there very quickly. It's almost as good as Matt Phillips' £5 to £35 brag, wasn't it? Right? It's on that same level.
Has he actually made that happen for you yet?
Of course he hasn't. No. But I heard he gave investment advice to the new guys, clearly, because they've turned it around into something special. And we've got some questions coming in. I've got 3 questions for you. I say 3 questions. We'll have lots more as we sort of dive through the evening. I've dropped a link, so if you want to come on and have your say, please do so. Hit the like button. Dominic says, "Do I go on tonight?" Dominic, you know the answer to that already. The answer is yes.
Get yourself on
the platform.
Dom.
The fisherman has just landed in my net. I will say that with a huge smile on his face. It's going to be fun. Kev says 4 points from the first 3. Russ says, looking forward to seeing what our new kits are like. Point against Liverpool, lost to Man City, 3 points against Fulham. And Bald and Blue says, I've seen a Premier League fixture with Ipswich Town in it, albeit years ago. But it's so nice for my children to experience this for the first time, of which obviously George mentioned at the start of the show, his young lads, first year season ticket holder was last year, second year in the Premier League. I wish I had that sort of luxury. Rich, you've got three young lads. They're going to be seeing Premier League for the first time. It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, they'll be absolutely. Well, I've spoken to them all today, and they can't quite believe it when it's like you got Liverpool, then we're off to Man City, and look, a lot of us have been to a lot of these grounds anyway, and have seen us in the Premier League. But it is for people like George's kids and my kids and everyone, like all them young fans. But like I said to you, Gov, there's fans out there, like even like Yatesy, early 20s, not probably seen Town in the Premier League. No. You've just had a lifetime of like thinking, blimey, we're losing at home to. Who did we lose at home to? Accrington and Stanley. Did they beat us when we were in League One? And Lincoln and all them teams, and probably thinking, would we ever get back? Because we must have questioned it ourselves. You always want to get back to that promised land. And for myself, I think we should have been, at least we should be an established championship team. And I agree with George. We have probably moved quicker than probably everybody thought, but we're here now and it's reality, and we've got to hit it head on. That first game, 17th of August, I think it's 60 days away, Gov. That'll soon come around. It will soon come around, and soon the signings hopefully will start rolling in, hit the ground running, have a good pre-season, and we should all really, really look forward to it. Look, there's going to be some tough times through the season, and you look at some of the months of the season when you're thinking there ain't going to be many points there. There's going to be certain games that you're going to have to target. It's just, that's reality. But even them games are not going to be easy. So every win that we get next season, you just have to celebrate it and enjoy it, because we ain't going to win every week like we have. We're not going to lose 6 games. McKenna's not lost back-to-back games, George. And then we've got Liverpool and City the first 2 games. So look, it's hard.
So many records to be broken.
Yeah, but we've proved the last 2 years that we're a good football team, boys. And I think we'll probably shock quite a few people this season, because a lot of people, and probably all of the pundits, would have wrote us off already. Bring it on, I say.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. And before I ask you sort of your points prediction for those first run of games, first 10 really, I'll probably do. You've got 30 available there to play with. But George, I spoke to Rich earlier about this. City and Liverpool back-to-back, Liverpool City back-to-back rather. Does that make the Fulham game at home that much bigger, in the sense of needing to get perhaps off the board, or get some confidence back? I don't know. What does that make that Fulham game to you now?
I don't think that's necessarily how we as a club look at fixtures. I'm not sure that it feels like it makes it much bigger to me. I think all of the games are equally big because there's exactly the same on the table for all of them in terms of what we can get out of them. You know, my opinion on playing to win. I think we should always be playing to win. So, and you know, I look, if we get a point from those first 3 games, I think we can make those up. The ones that we drop elsewhere on those other fixtures that we've, as Crunch says, that we've got to attack. And we do have to look at some and say, you know, we played these guys last year and we did all right against them. So, you know, they're the ones, and the ones that didn't do so well last year, and they'll be looking at who bolsters their squad and who doesn't, and who's away and who's not, and who's got cup games, and you know, all of that stuff will come into it, and a lot of it will change day by day, week by week. But I think at this point, you know, I think as Kieran said earlier, we've just got to be ready for day one, and beyond week 1, if we can get anything out of Fulham, that'll be a great start.
Yeah, your traditional relegation 6-pointers, you know, with what you're sort of referencing there in terms of Southampton and other teams you expect to be sort of in and around you. Mike Baker, though, is not worried, right? Because Mike Baker's already living in next year. He says, I'm not worried about it. Well, it's not the upcoming season that worries me. It's normally the second season we struggle. So Mike's already clinched survival in his brain, and he's already worried about the second season. Mike, I want to live in your brain.
It's actually quite strange, isn't it, Gov? Because we start with Liverpool, and who did we play the last time we played in the Premier League? Last game.
How'd that go?
Liverpool.
Yeah. Hopefully he goes
11-0, George, over them 2 fixtures that season. So we can only improve, mate.
We can only improve. Lewis has a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment. What minute of the Liverpool game are we supposed to boo McKenna? Lewis causing trouble in the chat already. He loves to cause a bit of trouble. All right, before I go for the first 3 then, you've got Liverpool, City, Fulham. Give me a points prediction. What do you feel that the club can achieve out of those first 3? I'll go to you first, Crunch.
4 points.
4 points. Where are you taking those 4 points from?
Draw against Liverpool. Because I think you did say, if you look at them, they've obviously got players at the Euros. I think there's the Copa America coming up. New manager. So he might not...
Will he slot right in?
Like that, Gov. Very good.
No worries.
But he might not have a lot of time on the training field with some of them players. You know, they're probably going to go on a pre-season tour. Will they have everybody available? Probably not. You know, players are away. They'll come back. They'll probably need a holiday. They'll need a break. They've played a lot of football. Town are the only team, George, without a player at the Euros. So we're feet up, getting ready to go. So, look, everyone's going to be absolutely buzzing on that morning of the 17th of August. You know, you're going to Portman Road. It's a 12:30 kickoff. Hopefully the sun will be shining. You never know with our weather, but you should all be relishing that game. You should be. You know, it's Liverpool, one of the biggest teams in this country and one of the biggest teams in the world football, Gov. You know, the name that they've got. But I think we can give a good account of ourselves on that first game. You know, look, nobody knows what's going to happen. We've obviously got VAR to encounter. We've not come across that. But I think we could take a point from that first game. I think realistically, look, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying we're going to rock up and we're going to roll over Liverpool. But I think, look, you know, you need a little bit of luck as well. But we've got the momentum. We're really confident, aren't we? We're used to winning games. And you've got McKenna there. And it's great that Kieran's going to be the team to lead us out on that first day of the season. It would have been a crying shame, George, if he'd have left and someone else would have took that walk from like the dressing room to the touchline after all the hard work that he's done in the last 2 years. It had to be him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's amazing, and you know, we should feel lucky that he is still here, because I suspect that probably may very well have come close to not being the case. But fair play to him, and fair play to the club for whatever they've put on the table and put in front of him and his staff to make it happen.
Absolutely. George, your points for the first 3 then. You got, you know, like I say, Liverpool, City, Fulham.
Crunch didn't say where his 3 points were coming, did he?
I'm guessing City, George. I'm guessing City.
Come on, George. You look. Look, saying that, look, City's going to be hard. I don't think we get anything there. Fulham, you were telling me it was like a good time to play him, and I said, well, Erling Haaland's not played in the Euros. He's had his feet up. Look, Fulham's going to be a hard game. You only have to look at the game when we played them in the cup last season. There was a lot of players there, George, who weren't probably first teamers. A lot just for us, but for them as well. But He looks at that game that night. They were quicker than us. They were more athletic than us. They were stronger than us. These are things that we got to get in our game, Gov. We've got to get some physicality as well in the Premier League. You've got to have. I'm not saying we haven't got them at the minute, because this group have done amazing, and they really have. But you need physical specimens, athletes, people who can play football, but you've got to have that physicality as well. This is hoping what we're going to add. But yeah, Fulham, we're going to beat you. There you go. Clip that up.
I'm sure they will. George.
Yeah. I think there's, like Crunch says, there's so much unknown at the moment. Like we may very well not have half of our squad for that first day yet. And who knows? If you ask me again in 6 weeks' time, I might be way more confident. I think there's a potential, given what the atmosphere will be like, given just the momentum and everything else. There's always a chance that we take something from Liverpool on the first day for all sorts of reasons. So yeah, I can see it, but at the moment I'm taking a point out of the first three. And I'm
okay.
running.
No, I think many fans may well agree with you. We've got 3.
But to be clear, that is not me saying that is not me saying we're happy with a point. That's what I'm seeing. I think the great thing about Ipswich is that that we're going to be looking to win every game.
So McKenna's still going to have his unbeaten record, not losing back-to-back games, George, and you're going City for a draw, yeah?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, we're rocking up to City. Luke Wolverhampton's in a pocket.
You tried to tell me this morning, weren't you? You were telling me this this morning.
Going to happen, all right? Just call me Mystic Meg. 3 points from Craig, 4 from Kev. Longy says, bring it on, great chance. 5 from James Reed. Loving James's confidence with the 5.
Yeah.
Can we all spare a thought, though? Because we have got a comment in the chat that's quite sad, really. So we need to sort of bear a thought for Daniel Hill, who says, I won't be off to Wedding. First home game of any sort I've missed for 6 years. He's missing Liverpool. He's gone through the Shrewsburys, the Lincolns, the Accrington Stanleys. He's gone through the real dark periods to miss Liverpool.
What time's the wedding? What time is the wedding, Dan? And where?
I don't care who's getting who. Don't matter if it's him getting married. No, even then, if she was if whoever you're marrying loves you, understands you, it's postponed. That's what wedding insurance.
There's going to be a lot of people who probably miss this first game, because obviously people with kids, they're probably on their holidays. So there's going to be a few who are going to be a little bit disappointed, I thought. No,
not me. I made sure I booked my holiday just in case we were in the Premier League. I was like, I'm not missing. I knew I'd miss a big game if I went on holiday. And I imagine I can't imagine it.
You didn't go on holiday in August last season. Or the season before, when we were in League One. You didn't want to miss Bolton at home or Accrington, did you, early on?
Absolutely. So Daniel, we're all thinking of you. He says 4 from August. 10 New Zealand dollars from Chris says Liverpool shock win, shock draw, Etihad, 3rd win.
Wow, what a start.
We are drinking the Kool-Aid.
Top of the table after 3 games then.
Yeah, a little bit of in the UK has gone to our heads. Will the stadium upgrades be ready for the first game? Would Tanner prefer an away fixture first to have more time?
Yeah.
Was there any request put in?
I heard a rumour that they'd requested to play away, but obviously it's no on
Ashton
the sort of
warning that they didn't, but whether that's true or not.
I think he said something, George, along the lines of not being defeatist, but you don't want to say, we want to play away first. Yeah. I know Luton last season they had to because they were building a new stand. So they had to play, I think, the first couple of games away. So, yeah, we want a game at home, don't we? Just outside Norwich. Oh, my God.
But he also did miss the opening games in 2000 and 2001. So,
well,
we'll take, repeat of 2000 for sure. Russ says, guys, what game is the one at home and away you're most looking forward to? Great question. I think we'll dive in with that. Which is the game at home and away you're most looking forward to? There's your fixture list if you needed assistance. Rich?
I think Man United at home. Still
Why?
for me, the biggest club in the world. Up there with Real Madrid, the McKenna links. I think it's United is always a fixture you should look for, and we probably owe them one after losing 9-0. So
that'll be a Sunday.
Another one. I'd look. There's a lot of games.
Yeah.
Look, your big 6. You're probably going to Spurs, the new stadium. A lot of people will probably have that ticked off on the list. West Ham as well is another one. Olympic Stadium, 60,000. But
All
You
right.
thought I was going to say Bournemouth away, didn't you?
I certainly did. I'm just thinking of that Man United at home, 23rd of November. That's obviously a day before my birthday. That's got to be moved to a
Wow.
Sunday. I'd have thought. That's got to be moved to
on
a
a Sunday, 4:30.
So
Got
yeah,
to be.
Portman Road on my birthday. George, what about you? One home, one away. You're most looking forward to?
Liverpool at home is the game that I'm looking forward to most there. Not just because it's Liverpool, but because I think as an atmosphere, I just think that's going to be phenomenal. Like if the sun's out and you know it's going to be packed, the atmosphere is going to be great from both sides. There's going to be plenty of people there with a real interest. It's going to be in front of everyone in the world. I think that's going to be some occasion, whatever happens. Arsenal on Boxing Day stood out to me straight away. So yeah, that's the one for me.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Anytime you play Arsenal, could be a big occasion. Andy says Man United away. My uncle said me and Dad can use his tickets for that game. James Reed,
Don't advertise that.
I'm just reading out the comments. They're not my comments. James Reed, I've missed the first home game of the last 4 seasons, but not this year. Told the wife earlier, have an earlier holiday this year.
Thinking there, James. Put your foot down.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Bald and Blue, the last day of the season at home against West Ham, staying up party.
Hey, I'll be qualifying for Europe. What are you on about, Bald and Blue? Come on.
Lee Bayliss, looking forward to City away. Only 15 minutes from his ass. Look at that. You had a hero score against City.
At the empty head, as they call it.
Well, won't have trouble getting a ticket then, surely, if it's empty.
Well,
right?
Wills.
Although you got all the points, haven't you? So
yeah,
you haven't got to worry.
So you got to do the game stuff. You've got to put the miles in.
Yeah, you absolutely got to do that. Talking about those last 5, I mentioned the first 3. You've got West Ham, obviously, last day, then Leicester, Brentford, Everton, Newcastle. What sort of points do you think we can take from that last 5? Whatever the season may be it a boring 10th, well, I say boring, it'd be delightfully good to finish 10th, but whether it be a 10th place finish, a 5th place finish, or a relegation battler, what sort of points do you think we can take from that last 5? Because on Sunday's show, George, I was talking about the importance of a run-in and could it be kind to us? Well, it's kind of been kind, as kind as you could probably get it. What do you think about that last 5? What's your points return?
Yeah, it looks better than the first 5, doesn't it? I think
It does.
I had 8 down from off the top of my head earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think I had nothing from Newcastle, 1 from Everton, 3 from Brentford, 1 from Leicester, and 3 from West Ham on the last day.
Like it. It's a kind running, Rich. And George is there taking 8
Nunny
points.
has literally read my mind because on my piece of paper here, I've got Newcastle defeat, Everton draw, and that'll be their second to last, obviously, game at Goodison because they're moving to Bradley Moore Dock the season after. And then I've got win against Brentford, draw at Leicester, and then beat West Ham at home on the last day. So 8 points. Happy days.
Very nice. And Lewis put a sort of tongue-in-cheek question, but I did get an actual question from somebody sent to me via WhatsApp. And I said I'd ask, and then I forgot on the show. So I'm actually going to ask it now. This gentleman was thinking of a scenario this morning where we don't spend massive and we're adrift by November. How does the fan base react? George,
what does he mean? What does he mean adrift, though? What is adrift?
I didn't qualify the question. I just said I put it to the populace. There's your fixtures. So in this person's scenario, by November, so you're talking, let's say end of November, you play Forest, Man United, Tottenham, Leicester, Brentford, Everton, West Ham, Villa, Southampton, Brighton, Fulham, Man City, Liverpool. If you cut adrift by then, he wants to know, this gentleman, how does the fan base react? George Nunn, what do you think the fan base's reaction would be?
I'd like to say we're all realistic enough that we know that we're there a little bit early. We've got largely and this is nothing against them, but largely the same squad as we had 2 years ago. And but realistically, I don't know, some people will start making. Matt will be calling for McKenna by then, won't he?
Shots fired across the SS Phillips. I love that. Lewis also did tongue-in-cheek ask, which is what reminded me of the question, Rich, where Lewis says, question, do you think any of our fans will tell McKenna if we sit on 0 points off the first 3? Now,
I know who Lewis is aiming at. I'm not going to say. Of course they won't. But you got any sense, it's going to be hard. I was just counted up here to the end of November. That's 13 games. I don't think we cut adrift after 13 games. If we are, we've had an absolute mare of a start. And if we're cut adrift, George, Leicester will probably be cut adrift as well because they've got minus points.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly don't think. I mean, this is famous last words. This will get clipped up too. But I honestly don't think we'll be cut adrift. I don't think. I'm not sure that that this relegation 6-pointer thing is. I think it'll be tight like it is most years. But I think we'll be right in there in terms of. I think someone said earlier that 12 to 9, 12 to whatever it was.
Well, after 10 games here, I've got us down for 12 points. So that's Leicester.
Well,
the 10th game is Leicester at home on the 2nd.
Yep.
So then you've got 3 more games in that guy's the question. Spurs away, probably not going to get a lot. Man United at home, Forest away. So you could have 14, 15 points possibly after, say, 13 games. I think if you've got 15 points, George, you've had a really good start to the season.
Where's your 12 coming from?
Right.
If you got 4 in the first month of the season, where's your 12 actually coming from? Because that's a lot of games that you're...
Right. Liverpool draw.
Not getting
City lose, obviously. Yeah. Fulham win.
Yeah.
Brighton away defeat.
You love Brighton, don't you?
Draw away at Southampton.
You really do like them. Yeah.
Draw away at Southampton, which is a game I think you've probably got to target possibly as a win because they've come up with us. But you've got to remember that they were a Premier League team the season before last. Villa at home, I've gone for a defeat. Mm-hmm. West Ham away, I've gone for a defeat because I think that's a hard game. 2 games there, Villa in the Champions League, West Ham, new manager. And then I've got beat Everton at home, draw away at Brentford, and then beat Leicester at home. So I've got 12 points.
Okay, all right. I mean, I think we can beat Brighton. But every time I talk to you about Brighton, you always sort of glow about how good they are, and you don't have us beating them. So,
it's
your second team this year.
It's away, and it's a tough place to go. We need to be realistic of where we are. We're all starry-eyed. We're in the Premier League, but it will become a reality when we've had a couple of hide-ins somewhere, and we will early on. Brighton away. Where did they finish last year? 12th. If you go to Brighton and you got a point, you take a point. If you gave me a point now, I wouldn't even bother getting on the bus, as Mick McCarthy used to say.
Well, if you gave me 38 points, isn't that enough for survival? I'll take 38.
Well, I think last season, Forest. What did Forest get, George, last season? About 32. But then you've got to look at clubs who obviously had points deducted, haven't you, as well? That could come into the equation this season because it might not just be Leicester.
We'll beat Brighton. George, first 10. What do you think? What do you think?
I've actually got. I was just looking at it. Actually, I've got one more than that. I've got 13, and that's after 1 point from the first 3. So I've been very optimistic after that. So I've got defeat, draw. Then I've got draw at Brighton, win at Southampton, loss at Villa, draw against West Ham, draw with Everton, and then beat in Brentford. Where does it go to? Hang on.
Leicester.
And then beating Leicester.
Yeah, I can't disagree with too many comments there in regards to where you're both getting your points from. Andy does say you said the same thing last year though, Rich, and it is true. And I was telling you last year you were being too cautious, too pessimistic.
I'm not going to come on here tonight and say we're going to beat Liverpool and Man City. Oh, am I really? Come on.
Oh no! I'll do that for you. Don't worry. But I mean, Brighton, Southampton. I think we can even beat Villa at home in the first month of in September. I think I don't know. It depends what sort of signings we make, etc. But
exactly, George. Like George said, in 6 weeks' time, we might be thinking different when we've signed 3 or 4 players. We've probably broken our transfer record twice.
But not my Greek striker, Rich. He's off the table.
No, I don't think he's coming. I was looking at the game tonight with Turkey and Georgia. Was there any players we could pick off there? That was a mad game if either of you watched it. Oh, my Lord. It was chaos.
There was a Romanian player that I like the look of. I thought he was pretty good.
Give me his name, please.
No. I'm going to try. I'm going to try. You deliberately just set me up. You set me up there. That's shocking, man. First off my back. Right. We've got Dom coming on just a second. But first of all, Fisherman, welcome in. Fixtures are out. You've heard the lads' comments. What are yours? What do you think?
Well, I think Brighton's like an ex that Richards never wanted to get rid of. You know what I mean? He does speak highly of him.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there, Mike.
The old tongue is a little bit with the old Brighton, isn't it? You know.
He
But
does
no,
like Brighton a lot. He wants to.
Yeah,
he wants
I know.
to
He
emulate
does,
them.
Yeah, he hypes
Well, if
them
we
up.
emulate them, I think we're doing well as a football club, boys.
Look,
Didn't say we weren't. Didn't say we weren't.
I'm just happy to just to be back in the Premier League.
I've got a question quickly for you, Mike. Got a quick question.
Yes, mate.
So you sent me a message earlier about Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Are these Premier League fixtures done at random?
I'd like to think so, but it does seem a little bit. Oof. Do you know what I mean? I mean, Liverpool, Man City. I mean, oh, do you know what? Right, my phone when that fixture list came up. My two boys are Liverpool fans. Two of them are Liverpool fans. That's their first team, which is like a second team. Straight away, Dad, can you get me a ticket to the game? Straight away on my case, I'm like, no. You want to get a ticket? You apply like everyone else. Do you know what I mean? But look,
tough love for you, Mike, isn't it?
You know, there's a lot of talk how many points we're going to get, where are we going to finish at the end of the season. I think, look, even if we got relegated, at the end of the season, you know, would I be surprised? No, it wouldn't be no reflection on McKenna. It wouldn't be no reflection on the club. It'd be just a case of the Premier League is, you know, the gap between the Championship and League One is like a league, just one league. But the gap between the Championship and the Premier League is like jumping from League Two to the Championship. It's such a massive jump, and you have to be realistic. You know, we've got no points on the board after 5 games. Well, it is what it is. You know, that you can't. You know, you're playing against established Premier League sides that have got arguably some of the best players in the league. You know, in Europe, playing in this league, and you've just got to be realistic. Will I be calling McKenna's head after 5 games? Of course, I wouldn't. Be mad not to. I wouldn't be calling his head at the end of the season. The end of the day is it is what it is. When you look at what Burnley did in the Championship and then how they got absolutely ripped apart in the Premier League, you know, and now you look at where Company is. He's now manager of Bayern Munich.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so for me, you know, look, the thing is, Kieran McKenna is a young manager that understands the modern game. Yeah, he understands the modern game, and there is sort of managers that are sort of floating around the Premier League, that I don't think quite understand it, and that's why they struggle. You know, the changes. Well, I mean, Pochettino being one. I like him as a manager, but sometimes his style and the way he plays is a little bit sort of dated. Talking to sort of Tottenham fans and that and stuff, and and Chelsea fans, they're
same as Chelsea, Mike. Talking to the wrong fan base.
So look, the end of the day is, like I said, I mean, even Mourinho now, quality manager in his day, would he be able to cope with the way the modern game is played? The rules have changed.
No Mourinho slander on my show.
Sorry?
No Mourinho slander on my show. He's the special one.
I'm not slandering him. I'm not saying. I mean, what a quality manager. You can't, look at what trophies he's got and medals he's got. No, I'm saying is the game has moved on. I keep getting told this all the time. The game has moved on. And what we have is a young manager who, at the very beginning of his reign, I was like with Matt Phillips, struggling to understand whether he could do it with us. Maybe it was a club too big. And how wrong were we? How wrong was I? I'm quite happy to stand here and say, look, I was wrong. And now, look, last year it was like, the bar was set so high. So the demand from myself and obviously a few fans were like, come on, we should, we're sitting second. We've got to at least finish there at the end of the season. Playoffs at the time felt like a bit of it just wouldn't have felt good. And thankfully, we got there at the end. And the boys, the players, the squad of players all took huge credit. The staff, Kieran McKenna, everyone took a huge credit to it for us to be back in the Premier League. And there's kids in their 20s that have never seen us play in the Premier League. And my kids have never seen it. My oldest boy, Josh, he did. He went to the playoff final.
And you've got a lot of kids, Mike.
I have. I've got 7 kids, but I can tell you now, My son Jake, although he's a Man United fan, second team Ipswich, he's been to a few Ipswich games. You know, he's never seen Ipswich in the Premier League, and he was buzzing when we got he went to I think the last game of the season. He was all there with the fans and stuff like that. He got a ticket and went, and it was like, they get to see stuff that us fans that on here. Perhaps George, did you go to the 2000 playoffs or?
Yep.
So we've all seen, every one of us here have all seen the glory years, and before that, Colin, in the 70s, 80s, I was 70s and 80s, and then obviously the early 90s, and then obviously 2000s, and then we've just, like I said, we've had so much dross, and now suddenly back-to-back promotions, and it's just been a magnificent ride, emotional. You fall out with fans because you have difference of opinions, and
do you?
And the
surely
ride
not.
is
surely not you.
massive. Sorry,
Not you, Fish.
You don't fall out with anybody, do you?
Not you,
all
mate.
the time, mate. All the
Not you.
time. I even fell
Mike,
out with someone on my own Facebook the other day because I called Slothgate. Well, I ain't going to go down that road, but anyway. But
I know you were a big fan of Gareth Southgate and particularly
I
the
am.
England's
I
first
hate
game.
him. I
But
think he's
Mike,
an absolute waste of space.
before I let you go, which fixture are you most looking forward to and why? Home or away? But which one you're most looking forward to and why?
I suppose the old classics, really. Look, first home game of the season, Liverpool. Looking forward to that one. Obviously, Man United at home.
November,
they're the classics. Even Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal. My mate, a good friend of mine, Sean, is an Arsenal fan. And we've had a bit of banter. We're going to batter you at your ground and all that. And look, they probably will. But at the end of the day look, for me, this season, whatever happens, we just got to enjoy the ride. And I know it's not always going to be a great ride. And it's going to sometimes, they might surprise us, but sometimes it's good. Like I said, we could end up floating near relegation. But it doesn't matter. We're in the Premier League and we just got to enjoy it, and yeah, for me, like I said, I'm not worried about how many points we get at the start of the season. I'm not worried how many points we get by November or December. I just want to take one game at a time, and I think that's what Kieran McKenna will do. Take one game at a time, and the players will do that. And if we get anything from Liverpool game, that's a positive. We get anything from Man City game, we're all expecting not to, so that's a positive. But you can't go to teams like Fulham, Brighton, Villa, West Ham, Everton, Nottingham Forest, and expecting points. You've got to go to every game thinking you can get a point or two or three.
Mike, you have clearly swallowed the modern coaching manual over the summer because you're coming out with all the cliches. One game at a time. You can't go into every game thinking you're going to win. This is a real model. This is a real change in you, Mike. This is a real change.
Well, no, this is called realism. Like I said, I've always been realistic. Hated League One. I couldn't stand being in there. So everything and anything was just get us out of this league. Got into the Championship. And I got correctly called out by Rich. Look, you've been moaning. You said you wouldn't moan. And I stopped straight away. Stop moaning. Which is was a fair point. At the end of the day, is if you're called out on it and you realise, actually, yeah, I was moaning. You think, hang on a minute, we were back in the Championship. What am I moaning for?
Did your missus tell you that on a daily basis? You're moaning again, Mike.
I ain't saying nothing, mate. I ain't saying nothing. I am not going down that
Look at
path.
this. Woody Wood says all the superlatives from the Fisherman. This is a new man.
Right.
This is
great.
Isn't it?
So I'm on about the new man. The sun has got to his head.
Yeah,
Can you start this in your diary, in your calendars, everybody? It was what's the date today? It is the 18th of June.
18th, yeah.
At about 20 to 9, and the Fisherman was saying, one game at a time. If we get relegated, this could come back to bite you on the backside, Mike.
But the thing is, look, even the bookies have got us down for relegation.
Of course they have.
Every team,
it's a surprise, isn't it?
Every fan of other teams have got us down for relegation. Every top team in this pundit and that has all got us down for possible relegation. So if we accept that at the beginning of the season, that relegation's a reality of what could happen in the Premier League, anything better than that is a positive, isn't it?
17th.
Absolutely.
Take it now, Mike.
Absolutely.
Mike, we
17th.
appreciate you. We appreciate
My
you, man.
heart says 12th, but my head says 17th.
Excellent, Mike. We appreciate you. Look after yourself. I'm going to get Dean on. Dominic, sorry, not Dean. Dominic Dean on in a second. Just before I do, we've got Luke 1688 in the chat. He's a Palace fan. He says, "Hope you guys stay up. but hopefully you guys don't take points off us. Good luck in the
Up
season.
the Eagles.
We play our first game against Palace is the 3rd of December at home, and then away on the 8th of March.
That's an evening game. That's an evening game, Palace. There's only 4. There's only actually 4 midweek games, Gov, at the minute.
And one is Palace away. George, should Luke at 1688 be worried that Town are going to take points off Palace? Would you fancy to take 3 or 4?
I was just looking to see what I put in my thing earlier. I actually had us taking points off them, to be fair. But
Poor Luke.
I know. We've got to take points from somewhere.
Hit the subscribe, Luke, while you're at it. Go on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on.
Now George has dealt you the hammer blow that you're taking nothing off us. Hit the subscribe, and you can come back and tell him how right or wrong it was.
6 points.
No? What was it? 4 or 3 then?
I had 4.
Oh, I'll take that. I'd take that.
Let's say that now.
I really would.
Definitely. I've actually starred Palace on my list as a home win, as a must.
Have you?
One of these games that you got to be looking. There's going to be certain games, especially at home, boys, that you're probably going to think we do need to be winning these games. Not putting any pressure on anybody, but that's just reality, I think.
Rich, if Mike was here now, he'd tell you one game at a time. Adi says, no heads wobbles from the Fisherman. He's a changed man. And we'll have a brief 30 seconds before Dominic comes in, just to mention something that Daniel's brought to the chat. Telegraph linking us with Jacob Grease from Hull. Thoughts on that potential link?
Good player.
Gents? Yeah, I know you know him very well, Rich.
Yeah, I see Everton. I think Everton and West Ham are often, because obviously Everton, Braithwaite might go to Man United, so he'd probably be the replacement for him. Left-sided, good player. We're going to be linked with these. I think this is where we're going to be shopping, George, at the top end of the Championship. I think you can probably cherry pick a few of them decent players off.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise you, would it? It's the sort of caliber that you think that we'll be in for.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're both in favour of that, I take it.
Yeah, definitely.
Judging by that reaction. All right, Dominic, we'll bring you in. Dominic, you've heard the lads, you've heard the Fishermen. What are your thoughts on the fixtures?
Right, okay, 2 things. Firstly, it's a game of 2 halves. And secondly, cliches, did he actually say on there, give him 5 or 6 games, and if he were down by the bottom, get rid of him?
No, he didn't.
Did he actually say that?
No, he didn't say that. He said he wouldn't.
He said
he wouldn't. I know it's unbelievable, Dom. Normally Fisherman would be saying that, but he didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
So go give your head a wobble.
I was going to say, yeah, no, it's a really good day, mate. I tell you, oh God, I looked at those fixtures this morning. A friend of mine is a Fulham supporter, and I just said, "Oh yeah, we've got you on the third game," and I'm like, "God, Fulham," but oh God, it's such a good feeling, isn't it? It really is a good feeling. Playing all these sides, and my thing didn't come up then actually, because I put a little caption on my as I was coming in to say about this Steve Whitten. So I also remember when Ipswich played Liverpool with the old Steve Whitten, Gavin Johnson, Jason Dezelle, that game. So when Liverpool came up, I'm like, yeah, that was you know, I think it was in the cup.
FA Cup.
Actually, but even so.
91-92. 91-92, Dom. And don't forget tomorrow night, we've got Craig Forest. 8 p.m.
We certainly do. Yeah, 8 p.m. Craig
Yes,
Forest for his
so
third
we'll
visit.
I will be listening and watching. Yeah. Yeah, so no, really good. Yeah, really pleased. I think someone said to me today on Twitter, actually, it's going to surprise you all, but a Leeds fan followed me. Actually, he's quite nice, actually. He's quite respectable for a Leeds fan.
Surely.
And
Really?
he said to me that Liverpool normally get the newly promoted team on the first game. I don't know how true that is. You'll probably know more than me, mate,
well, if you go back to Sunday's Talking Town, and I did look into my crystal ball there, and I did predict Liverpool.
Then, but yeah.
I did predict Liverpool, didn't I, Gov?
You did.
You did do very well on the sweepstake, did you? Crikey.
All right.
Taking him out on that one.
He's
taking him out.
I supported my boys tonight, Georgia. I thought they'd done very well, Dom.
They were phenomenal. I told you this morning I was looking forward to seeing Georgia play, and you all sort of raised your eyebrows.
Who did you get, Dom, again? Who did you get?
Scotland.
Well, I think I've got Romania at work, and I think I've got Serbia on you guys.
Oh well, unlucky. Not much better than me. So you're taking a piss out of me.
Sorry, my friend. I've got to update. I've got to sort this laptop.
No, you're right, Dom. Before I let you go, Dom, because it is buffering. The one fixture you're most looking forward to. The
Sorry.
one fixture you're most looking forward to.
Mine is Newcastle at home. I
Mhm.
think for the obvious Bobby connection, really. You know, yeah, just I am going to sort my laptop out, by the way. Yeah, I think it's got to be Newcastle at home. It'd just be nice to see all the a lot of him saying about the the Bobby connection, so it would be nice. Yeah, so yeah, I'll make sure I sort the laptop out for next time I come on. But yeah, but nice to come on you guys anyway. So thanks for having me on. But yeah, what a season! Let's enjoy the ride, and I think I'd say 5 points from the first 4. I think you've got to be optimistic. Liverpool 1, Man City 3, and let's see you enjoy the rest.
Love it. Dom, thanks for coming on. Sort that laptop on. We want you on more through the season. Sort the laptop out. Got Colin coming on to round the show. But before I do, I know you've got to finish at 9 because the cricket show is coming
the
in.
Boys, we probably won't be 9 o'clock. Maybe a few minutes running late. Got to make a cup of tea. Don't worry.
I don't want to leave them too late like I did last time because I felt terrible for all of 5 minutes.
I didn't.
But I felt terrible. The problem was I was late because I was talking to Phillips. Anyway, George, Dan makes a great point in the chat, which I hadn't actually noticed in the fixture list. But in December, Palace and Bournemouth at home, back-to-back. Huge. What do you think of those two? Having come into December, having played Man United, Tottenham, and then the rest of December is Wolves, Newcastle, Arsenal, and Chelsea. Just how sort of big could that back-to-back 4-day game period be, do you think?
Pretty big if we're adrift at that point, isn't it? But I think we've got to get points out of games like that. We've got to get points out of lots of games this season. So yeah, they're two big games. I agree. Like you, I hadn't spotted it, to be honest with you, in that context. But yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, it's a great sort of spot from Daniel Rich because like as George just said, and as I sort of lead into the question there, you've got Wolves, Newcastle, Arsenal, and Chelsea. I suppose the 3 games could be included with Wolves because the rest of December,
I think if you look at the game before,
paper,
I think if you look at the 30th of November, you got Forest away, and I know we got a really poor record there, but that's probably a game that you maybe could get a point out of, and then you got Palace and Bournemouth home back to back, Wolves away.
Look, that Newcastle game, Rich, as well for bringing it into the 5, like that is going to be one of those games that is just the atmosphere is going to be phenomenal. It's just
I think the atmosphere for every game, George, will be bouncing, but I think for a game like that,
we're bound to make
there'll be a little bit of extra edge, won't they? I think for probably both sets of fans that day.
Yeah.
With the Bobby Robson connection, but you haven't got. Obviously, I said, Gov, you've only got 4 midweek. So, like last season, I think we done some 9 points. 3 games, didn't we, where we got 9 points? I think there was a couple of 7s in there. You've not got that this season. So if you lose a game on a Saturday, you've got not a midweek game. You're probably going to have to stew on it for a week, aren't you? But yeah, Palace, Bournemouth at home. You'd want to take 4 points, I think, minimum from them 2 games. That's looking at it now, but nobody knows how it's going to pan out. And injuries, suspensions. How many suspensions will Sam Morsey have had by then, George? Will he be on his 2nd, maybe?
It's a joke, but we are going to have to look for somebody to sort of be able to step in when he is, particularly with VAR. You maybe
because I said I think the other day. I think if you look at probably last season, there's probably a couple of times there when he probably, if you've got VAR, he's probably going to have a red card. So this is the unknown, Nunny, isn't it? That we're going into. We've not had VAR, so it's going to be. You've got to get your head around it really quickly as players and fans. Yeah.
I mean, I think for the players, there was a few games last season. I think the Southampton game, I thought, was the one at home that I kind of thought with a bit of VAR, this could have been tasty for both sides. Really, I think there was all sorts of things going on off the ball and all sorts, and that you're not going to get away with that in the Premier League. You're just not.
The question begs, before bringing Colin in, is does my kind words to linesmen continue? Because obviously previously, same from the cobbled, when I thought an offside has been not given and they've scored, I may have let the linesman know what I thought of him, just very kindly, obviously.
You've berated him,
but now no, very kindly. But with VAR now, do I continue that? Because obviously they would have checked it, right? So, I'm
liking the automated system that they're going to bring in. They're using that in the Euros, aren't they? And I think that's a lot. It seems to be a lot quicker to me. They get that decision. Look, we will probably have times this season when we're probably sitting there for 3 or 4 minutes when there's a goal, there's something happened. You need to get these decisions more quicker, Gov. Get that decision early, but automated. You're not going to have to get lines up. If it's offside, it's offside. So it just.
And do we sit in the stadium? I don't suppose we do we?
No, I don't think they're allowed to show it on the screens because obviously it's like it could cause.
Because why give the paying spectator even more of a
that is another reason. That is another thing. When Wolves, when they obviously wanted to have the vote, that was another supporter sort of engagement because there's a lot of times when you probably won't know what's going on. You're sitting there thinking, what are they looking for? Well, 4 minutes later.
Some would say how we do
because I can't get a phone signal. I can't look at my phone and know what's going on because my bloody phone not working. Like a lot of people.
No, exactly. Take the Tractor Boy. Exciting start, 24-25 season. Ashton arrived and immediately began preparing the club for this moment. McKenna and thoughtful additions will see us through, predicting
10th
place. 0-0 at half-time in the Portugal-Czech Republic game. Here we go. Colin, you're going to round up the show. What are your thoughts? You're obviously a fan that's seen it all through the time. Town back in the big time. What are your thoughts?
I'd just like to say good evening, everybody. Good evening, George, Rich, and Gav. My thoughts, I'll tell you what, I had a real good think to myself this afternoon because the first season I saw 10, the top flight was 68, 69 season, when we went up under Bill McGarry, and then Bobby came in a year later. Actually came in January. I had to think back to that season, because I'm trying to give everybody hope now because we struggled under Bobby those first couple of seasons. We struggled quite badly, and what you must think. I mean, obviously, the teams now are just unbelievable, really. But you've got to remember, I was thinking back today, like the Manchester United side when we first went up at George Best, Bobby Charlton, Bobby Stiles, just won the World Cup. You had Tottenham with Dave Mackay, Jimmy Greaves, Alan Gilzean, people like that. They were people like Jimmy Greaves and Bobby Charlton, world class players. You had Gordon Banks in goal for Leicester at the time, went on to play for Stoke. There was great players playing in the first season at that time when Ipswich was struggling, and Bobby kept us up. He made a couple of great signings with Jimmy Robertson and Frank Clark. And the rest was history. He just built and built and built. The hope I'm trying to give everybody is that, look, obviously everybody keeps talking about 17th. Yeah, obviously we'll bite somebody's hands off. I think we'll be okay. I think we've got a very, very good manager. I think he's never talked about too much, but I think we've got a very, very good number 2 in Martin Pert. Keeps himself to himself, but does a very good job, I think, behind the scenes. And I just honestly think we'll be okay. Look, we're probably not. Look, I'm going to forecast 14th. I'll probably get laughed off the face for this. That's where I honestly think we'll finish. I think we'll finish about 14th.
It's a bit low for you.
Well, that's where I think we'll finish, Rich. And I'm going to hold. Everybody can hold me to that. And I just think we'll be okay. We've got, like I say, and I mean, I was listening to Michael Owen today, just before Ash got started. Michael Owen was there in the winners' enclosure, and they were talking to Michael Owen. And they said, so you got obviously ex-Liverpool, so you got a nice little start, He said, he more or less said, if you think, with their momentum and, their winner mentality, that's an easy game for Liverpool, first game of the season. You really want to think again. He thought that obviously the goal for class will probably tell in that game, which obviously, I'd agree with to a certain extent. But Michael Owen, was really saying that, that's going to be a tough game for Liverpool, first game of the season.
Yeah, and it will because it's at Pullman Road. Obviously, as you say, the momentum we bring into the campaign, the excitement around the stadium, the atmosphere, and Colin, what one game are you most looking forward to? I know time is precious, obviously, with Rich there wanting to get his. Is it pads on in cricket? Is that what you need to do when you're about to come up to bat, Rich? I mean, I don't know.
Get your pads on. You got to get your box on.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. You go and get your box on. While Colin tells us his favourite, or what game he's most looking forward to, rather.
Well, like I said to Rich earlier, I mean, obviously the first game of the season, it's going to be electric. I'm really looking forward to it. There's 4 or 5 I took another 4 or 5 grounds off next year, which is really good. I'm really looking forward to going to Tottenham. Probably more than just about anywhere. Really looking forward to the Etihad. I'm looking forward to going to the Amex, to be fair. Ian's been there and has said that's really, really good. But I just think the whole season. Like I text Mel Burns today, we'll sell out every away game. There's no doubt about that. We'll sell out every home game. The atmosphere, like George quite rightly said, will be absolutely electric on that first day. Similar to when we played Man United at night game when we do 1-1.
Yeah.
Fabian scored. And yes, Rich, and look, I know it's the old he was talking about cliches tonight, but it is the old cliche, but it does help. I mean, that crowd gets right behind that team, like we did on several occasions last year, and especially like we did against Man United that night. That could be worth probably 4 or 5 points at least to us in our home games, and it could be even worth another 4 or 5 points to us in the away games. And Rich knows. I mean, we all know, but I mean, Rich goes obviously just a little bit more. To be fair, and some of the scenes last year, especially Coventry, Rich, 1 or 2 games really, but apart from especially Coventry. And the games, the away games at the end of last season, to use Mark Ashton's phrase, we did pull it over the line on once or twice, didn't we, Gav? On the away games, and I think we'll get between 38 and 40 points, and I think if we get between 38 and 40 points, we'll be fine. Be absolutely fine.
Excellent.
One thing
Colin?
I would like to I would
very quickly because Rich is literally itching to get the bats out.
9:15, we're going to start, everybody. 9:15.
Sorry, Rich. I really appreciate it. A couple of things I'd like to say.
I'll just go for 2 now.
You just gave him 11 minutes.
You just gave him a whole new lease of life. That's why.
I had a little add up today. This would be starting from 68 because obviously I didn't see the back end of the championship winning side. This will be my 24th season in the top flight. And the last thing I'd like to say is I thought about it today. Lots of times I was looking at the fixtures and that. I was thinking about dear old Martin. I was thinking about Ben. And I was thinking, look, I mean it. I mean it, lads, because I'm not going to get emotional. I was thinking of everybody we've lost who we knew really personally. And also those children. I say it all the time, don't I, Rich Gov? I think I haven't got like children like that anymore. I mean, obviously Andy takes a Lawless occasionally. But let's bloody stay in that league for them children. And then, as like I said earlier, about 68, 69, 70, 71 side, let's take it on. Let's get the money in again and build and build and build. And I think Kieran can do it. I really believe he can do it. We stay in this league for a year or 2. I think we're on for to be like a Crystal Palace or a Wolves. I firmly believe that.
All right. Colin, as always, really good to get your thoughts. Thank you for jumping on the platform this evening. Look after yourself. I mean, is it funny that I'm not most looking forward to it, George, but Fulham followed by Brighton are 2 fixtures that intrigue me, just because after obviously the start of Liverpool City, are all sort of where are we? Because you're not going to know where you are in terms of real quality against the first 2, but those 2 games particularly, maybe it's a real test to see, okay, where do we sort of shape up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think they're the sort of teams that we are going to be modelling ourselves on, if that's the right word. They're the ones that we want to emulate over the coming.
Would you add Southampton in there as well?
Yeah,
that's another game. That's obviously the 5th game.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're the ones that we should be looking to absolutely. You know, we want to test ourselves in every game, but they're the ones that we should be looking at with as little fear as we have. And that's not to say we have no fear in this league, but they're the ones that we should be looking at going, these are the games that we should be holding our own in, you know, without a shadow of a doubt.
Absolutely. George, it's great to have you back on the platform. Thank you for joining us. Rich, you're going to go get ready for your...
Great debut performance. Brilliant. I mean, it's just like he's been on here before.
All right. Having a long day, but it's good to have him back. Rich, thank you as always. Like, subscribe. Catch us again very soon for more Talking Town.
9:15 cricket show. Don't go away, everyone. Stay and watch.
No, don't go away. Literally, stay right there for more cricket, and I'll see you all very soon.
You make me smile when I think of you. If I get down or when I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. Hopeless lover. I woke up all soaked in sweat, weird chills running down my neck. I thought went crazy from just the thought of you.